Welcome back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraaf.
And I'm Cathrine, co-host, Bestie.
Welcome back, Cathrine. Here we are, back in the pod lab.
Wow, that was quick.
I know. We just recorded part 1 of Weird News. Yeah. That's our episode number 103. So if you haven't heard that, go back to 103. You can listen to them. You don't have to listen to them in order. It's all going to make sense.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because this is different weird news.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the last episode, we forgot to mention our sponsors.
That's right. I just thought of that too.
Yeah. If you're just joining us today for the first time, first of all, let me just say welcome aboard to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway train. We're just two best friends that get together and we record a podcast weekly. Episodes drop weekly on Wednesdays at noon.
Some days we barely make it, but we do it.
Yes, we do.
Drop. Good enough.
11:45. Oops, made it. But it's fun. It's been a great journey, and so far, so this is episode number 104, and we have a couple of sponsors. First of all, our husbands, Ron and Kenny, and we call them Puffin because Kenny's nickname is Pooh, Ron's nickname is Muffin. Together, it's Puffin. And now Puffin just signed up to be a patron.
He did. Now he's an official.
He's official.
Officialer.
Right. Yeah. He's a humor contributor.
He is.
And we just launched a Patreon page. So if you do want to support what we're doing here in our creative endeavor, you can become a sponsor that way. And we have others who have joined us.
No, so it's exciting.
Yeah, we're very excited now. We have 4 sponsors on Patreon.
Yes. I keep forgetting to tell Kenny that Ron has signed up to be a contributor.
Oh, tell him, because then Kenny will join in right away and he'll sign up.
Yeah.
Get going, Cathrine. Geez. Pick the low-hanging fruit. All right. So if you would like to learn more about us and see what we're doing, you can check out the show notes of this episode and become a sponsor if you'd like to. All right. Well, let's get back to our weird news part
do it.
2.
What you got?
All right. On part 1, Cathrine went over some weird headlines that she had found, and there were multiple ones. Now, I focused in on one because that's kind of how I roll. If I get like my radar is on one thing, then I got to know.
You get hyper-focused.
I do. I get kind of obsessed in a way. Well, I had heard about this. It's a man from Alabama. His name is James Michael Grimes, and he went on a cruise. He was 28 years old. This just happened.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Okay,
so November, last month. He went on a cruise with his whole family. There were over a dozen people from his family on this cruise.
So this is like a story, huh?
It's a real true story. It really happened.
A whole story. Okay.
It's a whole story.
So not just a headline.
Well, It has a headline.
Yeah.
The headline. Here's the headline. Cruise ship passenger went overboard. Went overboard, and he was dead set on surviving during 20-hour wait for rescue.
Actually, this sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, it was in the news.
Okay.
It was in the big news, like all over the place.
So it's not weird news, really.
Oh, it's weird.
Oh, is it?
I think it's weird.
Okay.
I think it's weird. I think it's extremely weird and odd that he survived. First of all.
Against all odds type thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, he survived the fall. He fell off a cruise ship. You ever see a cruise ship?
I haven't been on one, but I know it's a very long, very tall
It's like a building.
Yeah. I would imagine once you smack that water,
that hurts.
It's a beating.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like hitting concrete.
Yeah.
It's not like it. Yeah. Because of the, I don't know what they call that, the velocity or whatever. It's because you're dropping from a long ways. So it hurts. Well, so that's one piece of the story, but here's where it gets odder. And I read several different articles. This one is from ABC 7 right here in Chicago, and they did an interview with him. But he was in, the last time that he was seen was the night before Thanksgiving, and he was down at one of the bars, and he was with his sister. Well, of course, duh.
Yeah.
He's with his sister and a bunch in their group, and he's doing one of those air guitar competitions. And he wins.
Okay.
He's the winner.
Oh.
He's the winner.
All right.
Of the competition. But he has to go to the bathroom.
Oh, no. Was the bathroom occupied? So then he had to go off the deck?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
It doesn't say that, but that was where my brain went.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have been on a cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on a cruise twice. I've been on one many years ago and then one right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
You don't just fall off a cruise ship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You either are murdered
Yeah.
because somebody throws you off,
Mm-hmm.
or you do a suicide. You could do that.
Yeah.
Or you're incredibly drunk and you climb up there not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Or
you fall.
you remember that poor grandpa that was holding his toddler grandbaby and he accidentally dropped the baby?
Oh, yeah. And the baby died. Yeah. I don't understand how that works. Okay. Well, this guy apparently, he had to go to the bathroom. So it says here, Grimes had only been aboard the Carnival Valor for a day before his sister reported him missing. So they're on the ship for one day. They're having a great time. The two were last seen together at a restaurant where Grimes had won an air guitar contest before going to the bathroom. And that's the last thing he remembers. He remembers the air guitar competition.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then he remembers going to the bathroom.
That's
it. Then the next thing you know, he's in the
Next
ocean. He's in the ocean.
Okay.
And the ship is gone. You can't even see it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So he remembers from this point on.
Well,
That
the gap in his memory is like, how did he get
right.
How did he get there?
End up there?
How did he end up in the ocean? Because you don't just accidentally go, whoops.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. So it says, the last thing he remembers, Grimes said he believes the fall overboard knocked him unconscious. So now he's in the water and perhaps unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good combination.
No. How would he survive that? Because you can't wade in the water.
Well, I would imagine he's floating, and obviously he didn't die. So he was either floating face up or face down. And if he was face down, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So you
He
would
wouldn't be
then
able to-
think he would be face up. So
You
maybe
would think,
he's
yeah.
just floating there. So then it says, this is him talking. The next thing I know, I regained consciousness.
Thank
I
God.
was in the water with no boat in sight, he said.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So now he's alone
Mm-hmm.
and it's pitch black. It's dark. Okay. All he can see is the stars and the moon. This is all written here. And then he decided in that moment that he would make it out of the water. He made a...
You just made a commitment
yeah.
to survive?
Yes.
Okay.
And oftentimes they do say that
Yeah, I've heard
in
that.
these survivor shows and these people that are interviewed and how did you survive? You're just like, I had a will to live.
Well, you do hear that from these people. But
Yeah.
I'll bet the people who didn't survive had that same exact mindset, but didn't make it.
Well,
But you can't interview them.
that's true.
They were probably
That's true.
I'm gonna live. I they
Gonna make
probably
it.
fought with all their might.
True. But there are also times when you hear, well, so-and-so gave up or
You
they
do,
went mad
yeah.
and whatever. Okay, so now he's all by him lonesome. And imagine that you wake up and you're in the ocean.
No.
And the
No,
last
thank
thing you remember is doing an air guitar competition. My life was so good then.
I was having drinks.
How
I was surrounded by people.
did I go from there to here?
Yeah.
Oh, how does it get worse?
Now my hands are like prunes.
Okay. So now he's quoted again in this article and he says, quote, I feel like I was given a chance right then. You're alive for a reason. That fall could have killed me, but I felt like from that moment on, I was trying to stay positive. And when you're here, you're still alive for a reason. So he's out there in the middle of the ocean and just saying, well,
Lost in his thoughts.
well, I'm still here, so I guess I'm going to make it.
There's a purpose for me other than air guitar.
Yeah. Okay, so then he says, so all you got to do now is swim and
Just
survive.
keep swimming.
Yeah,
Just keep
yes, that's
swimming.
it. He says, I was hoping they will start looking for me and they will eventually find me. That's what he said. Okay. All right. He was aboard. Let's see. Grimes was aboard the 5-day cruise with 18 of his family members for Thanksgiving. I mean,
Wow.
this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he didn't return to his cabin that night, his sister reported him missing. And it probably took her a while to, first of all, report it.
I would imagine.
It's
a big ship.
Right. He went to the bathroom. Who knows where he got distracted from there.
Right.
And then they got to look around the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If they report him missing, they don't just go man overboard. They don't.
No,
right. They got to look around. I'm assuming that they have cameras.
I would assume that too.
That they can.
They're everywhere now.
Yeah, you would assume that a ship would have cameras.
Well, if they have them at traffic lights and just random places on the highway, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the ship was on its way to Cozumel. That was their destination.
So I have to ask.
Yeah.
Do we suppose that he fell in warm water?
Well, I read that it was around 70 degrees, so it wasn't super
it wasn't
warm.
Freezing.
It wasn't going to kill him instantly, but you can't be in 70 degrees for too long.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So they were headed to the Caribbean, or to a Mexican island in the Caribbean, to Cozumel. And it was released by the Coast Guard to continue to its destination after the rescue was made. So after they picked him up, the Coast Guard were the ones that grabbed him. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the people just kept going. Mm. And then they took him to, a hospital.
Well, did they find him at night?
Yeah.
How did they find him at night in the ocean?
It really was something where I think that it was a miracle that he lived. It was a miracle that he survived the fall.
Right.
Okay. It was a miracle he survived
the water.
Right. The temperature of the water. And then he was in the water from that night, the night before Thanksgiving, and then all day the next day. So he was extremely sunburned from being in the water all day, like his head and everything. Mm-hmm. And he had stripped off all of his clothes to get rid of the weight of that. Yeah. So he survived the sunburn. He survived the hypothermia, whatever they call that. That. And he was hungry, and he was losing energy, and he was expending energy just,
Well, and when you're taking in salt water, too, you could go a little bit cuckoo.
Yeah, and he could be, dehydrated.
Right.
So he survived all that. Well, then it got dark again. That it was Thanksgiving night. Well, they put out the call to the Coast Guard that we're looking, right? Well, the Coast Guard goes into their training and all of their technology, and they put the word out to all the ships in the area. We got a man overboard and we're looking, right? Yeah. And they have this computer software that works kind of like you put in all the factors into the software, like what was the temperature, how big was the person, did they have a flotation device, and how far would they float,
so it can tell them
about where he might be.
Oh, I see.
And the way they described the technology was as if it were like the little yellow rubber ducks that you would put in a pond, or like those little ones in the carnival.
Right.
It's like this technology takes these little rubber ducks and puts them in the ocean, and then it shows you how far out they would float after a certain amount of time.
Neat.
So if they have the data to put in there, what time did he fall in the water? How much did he weigh? What did he have to hang on to? Anything like that. And then they look at the weather. What was the wind like? What were the waves like?
Sure.
And then this computer says, well, this person would likely be here.
At 7 knots to the east.
Yeah. And I guess let me look at the article for that, but I think that the size that they assumed that they were searching was about the size of Massachusetts. So it was still pretty big.
How they found him in the night, even with all that data.
Yeah. Yeah, right, because it was a nighttime rescue. And he saw boats that were near him, and he was waving his arms and yelling, so to have the energy for that, crazy. Okay, let's see what else I wanted to say here about that. Okay. The ship was on its way to Cozumel. I already said that. The Jayhawk air crew hoisted the man onto the helicopter and transferred him to awaiting emergency vehicle services at the New Orleans Lakefront Airport, a statement from the Coast Guard read. So they came and got him in a helicopter. We are beyond grateful that this case ended with a positive outcome, said Lieutenant Seth Gross, a Coast Guard Sector New Orleans Search and Rescue Mission Coordinator.
So, and this is on Thanksgiving Day or night?
Well, now we're at night.
Well, something to really be thankful for.
How about it? Yeah.
Wow.
We greatly appreciate the efforts, most especially of the U.S. Coast Guard and the mariner who spotted the guest in the water. So this is from the cruise line, right? Oh, thank you for picking up our guest who jumped off the ship. Idiot.
He owes us.
It's probably going to sue us, so let's prepare for that. The Coast Guard said in a statement Thursday to ABC News, cruise ships have safety barriers in all public areas that are regulated by the U.S. Coast Guard standards that prevent a guest from falling off. Guests should never, ever climb up on the rails. The only way to go overboard is to purposefully climb up and over the safety barriers.
So this man must have done that.
Either that or somebody hoisted him over.
Some kind of, yeah.
But he was the air guitar champion. So
somebody was like, you stole the championship. Overboard with you.
Walk the plank.
I can't control my jealousy.
Oh, my gosh. Carnival Valor retraced its route to support the search and rescue. So they get the word that he's not on the ship, you know, and so now they got to turn around and go look for him.
Gosh.
But the ship has now been released by the U.S. Coast Guard and will continue on its way to Cozumel. Carnival's care team is providing support to the family members of the missing guest who were sailing with him and remain on board. So they took him.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay, so when ABC is interviewing him,
yeah,
do they say to him, look, guy, what's his name, Graves?
Yeah.
Okay, look, Mr. Graves, the ship is built up to the Coast Guard standards so that you can't just fall over and you can't exactly jump over either. So what's up?
Well, his answer to that is, I don't remember.
And that's all he's got to say?
That's it. He says, I don't remember what happened from the time I did the air guitar and I went to the bathroom and next thing you know, I'm in the ocean. Yeah.
You can't shake it out of him, I guess.
I would imagine that he did say that he had a few beers. He did say that and some wine. Okay. So he admitted that he had some alcohol. But he said he wasn't drunk. Okay. But I mean, I don't know what else to say. How did his brain go blank?
Well, I can see where one could suffer some memory loss from concussion or,
true.
That kind of thing.
Okay. And then here's what he said, what kept his positive attitude. He did say, I just kept swimming. Just kept swimming.
Of course, ABC is going to do that interview because,
swimming.
Disney.
Yeah.
Owned by Disney.
And in addition to that, his attitude, he said it was his will to see his family again that kept him afloat. Yeah, they're all on the boat.
I'm hungry. It's Thanksgiving.
He's like, wait for me. He says, quote, I wanted to see my family and I was dead set on making it out of here or out of there. I was never accepting that this is it. This is going to be the end of my life. I'm 28 years old. I'm too young. This is not going to be it, Grimes said. So he kept telling himself that.
Yeah.
And then he also said, I always thought there's a greater purpose for my life. And now I know for sure I'm meant to do something on this earth. And I don't know. It was just the Lord out there helping me, giving me strength and helping me stay afloat, he added.
Well, wonderful. He gave
credit where credit's due.
That's right.
I would think that would have such an impact on you.
Oh, yeah.
That is a near-death experience.
That is absolutely a near-death experience.
Yeah, and he also said in a different article that one of his greatest fears was drowning.
Oh.
So he had that, in his head. So he had to overcome that. And then when he went he was put in the ICU, and apparently he doesn't have any health insurance. So he has some bills to pay.
Oh, boy.
So his sister started a GoFundMe to help with that.
Was it the same sister that reported him missing?
They didn't say.
Well.
But perhaps.
Good sisters or sister.
Yeah.
Either way.
And then the people that rescued him, I mean, they showed a video. You can find this video online. It's because it's out there. And it's using night vision, whatever technology, camera technology, because all you see is like
like a green
glow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can tell it's a person. And he's frantically waving, and he's naked in the water, and they do rescue him. And the rescuer said he maybe had a few minutes of energy left.
Wow.
If they hadn't arrived when they did, he likely would have succumbed to just exhaustion.
Yeah, I would think that.
And so many things had to line up in order for him to be rescued at that time. In terms of the ship that saw him had to be there. Yeah. And actually see him and know that they were looking, right? And the Coast Guard helicopter was only 6 miles away from where he was. And so if the helicopter had been in another location, the Coast Guard said that he maybe had a couple minutes left.
Well, and the timing of the sister reporting him.
Right.
That, too, is a big factor.
Right, because she might have said, that idiot, he's always just doing this, taking off.
Yeah, and if she wasn't in her right mind and just, so, lots of things, had to line up. Yeah,
I would say that this young man probably right now is just feeling like every day is a gift.
Hope so.
Because it is. That's like all of us. Any of us could be out there.
For sure. I think it's significant that it happened on Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's what?
No, I was just going to say, that was a good story.
Yeah. A very good ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says here that it was over 7,000 square nautical miles that they were looking in for him. So it is quite an amazing story. Yeah. And thank God for technology.
Right.
For the type of technology that is out there that can do that.
It's amazing with the technology, the way they're able to now find people in this world with like DNA, genealogy.
I know.
If you ever really have watched that, how they narrow it down by family line, it's amazing.
It is. It's scary.
By somebody in your family who has similar DNA. It's crazy.
It is crazy. And a lot of times people are like, wait a minute, what? Who am I? All right. True. Well, I think that was a pretty weird story there.
Yeah, it's not at all what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
once I got latched onto it, I'm like, I can't.
know you.
Yeah, I can't not. And then I'm reading every article I can find, and I'm doing this last night while I'm like laying in bed, and Ron's going, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm podcast research, Puffin sponsor."
That's so funny because you'll say to me, "Are you ready?" And I'll say yay or nay, because I go by according to what we've discussed.
Right. Right.
And then lo and behold. I'm like, wait a minute. Where's your headlines? Plural.
Well,
but yeah,
I couldn't stop. And within this one story, it had so many different facets to it.
Yeah.
I
get it.
And I'll bet that down the road, there's going to be more that comes out about it,
Yeah, there might be. Hopefully he's moved on from air guitar and has insurance and all those things. I hope.
Right. I hope so too.
I said Graves earlier, but I heard you say Grimes.
Oh, Grimes. Yeah. When you said Graves, I was like, the irony. Sorry. Not funny.
You should see when you laugh like that. You should see this Audacity graph thing looks like an EKG, and when you do that, it goes off, and then the other graph goes all red. Goes from green to yellow to red. Bah!
I have such a weird laugh.
I laugh like that too.
It like goes into like a little hiss.
It's the Huckleberry Hound laugh.
I guess.
All right, girl.
Are we done?
Yes.
All right, we got a scripture for this one.
Yes, we do. What is it? It was yesterday. I don't remember.
I know, and I hope it fits because we picked it.
Oh,
we picked it before I really got like laser locked on this story. So I'm just gonna read it and we'll make it fit.
What is it?
It's Colossians 1:16-17. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on the earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together.
I think it's very fitting and appropriate.
Yeah.
That Mr. Grimes, created by Almighty God.
Yeah.
And
Ocean,
saved
created
by Almighty God.
Yeah.
All things, in and above, heaven and earth.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot to mention that he was attacked by like a school of jellyfish.
Ow.
I know. Stingy.
Ooh.
And something with a fin, but he wasn't sure if it was a shark or a dolphin.
They must not have been poisonous ones.
They were small ones, he said.
Okay.
So,
Eey.
yeah. Well, we're happy, Mr. James, Michael Grimes, whatever your name is. We're happy that you made it and hope that you won't do that again.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, somebody with a 3-part name like that sounds like somebody who's important and should be having a purpose.
Not necessarily. John Wayne Gacy.
Okay, forget that. We'll put it this way, though.
Yeah.
Everybody knows them.
John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I'm not saying that they have a good purpose.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Up next, procrastination.
We'll get to it in January or maybe February.
Whenever.
Bye-bye.
Bye.